Hi everyone, it's Monica from Blue Star Crochet. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun crochet project, which is the Nadia shawl. So let's have a look at some of the basic materials and tools that we will need for completing this project. Firstly, for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Hobby Seashell yarn, but for the original sample, I have used a custom-made gradient yarn cake from Fantasy Yarns. I will link both of the yarns in a description for this video, so you can choose whichever yarn you want to use. Secondly, we're going to be using a 4mm crochet hook for this project. Of course, you should change the size of your hook to match the gauge of the original pattern. Talking about gauge, that brings me onto this gauge measure. So this is a solid wooden gauge measure that is 4 by 4 inches or 10 by 10 centimeters square to measure your gauge. So match the gauge of the original pattern if you want your shawl to be the same size as the original design. We will also need a yarn needle to sort out those pesky ends. There's only going to be two. If you're using a gradient yarn cake, there's only going to be two ends, as well as scissors. And then at the very end, once we're done with our shawl, I strongly recommend blocking the shawl to open up the lace. So you will need blocking mats like this one, as well as some blocking combs like these ones from Hobby. I really love these because they are solid blocking combs, so you won't get that scalloped edge when you block in lacy projects. So I highly recommend getting these blocking combs for your crochet projects. For the purpose of this video tutorial, I am using the Hobby Seashell in combination with a 4mm crochet hook, but do check out the blog bluestarcrochet.com via the link in the description for this video for yarn suggestions and for different yarn cakes that would work perfectly with this shawl pattern. There are two ways that you can start this shawl, but first we're going to make a slip knot. So I'm going to create this loop, and I'm gonna put this loop onto my fingers. We're gonna twist, and I'm gonna grab the tail end and pull it through to create a slip knot, which I'm gonna then place onto my hook. Now, the two different ways you can start this shawl pattern is via the traditional foundation chain and working the first row as single crochets, or the second alternative is to work foundation single crochet stitches. So if you are using the foundation single crochet stitches, which is the chainless start to the project, you need multiples of 6 plus 2. If you are using the traditional foundation chain plus single crochet first row, your multiple is a multiple of 6 plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the foundation single crochet. So I've got my loop on the hook. I'm going to chain 2, so that's 1 and 2. Now I'm going to go and insert my hook back into the first chain like this, yarn over, pull through. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop on a hook, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on a hook. So this creates the bottom chain plus the single crochet on the top. To work the next foundation single crochet, I'm going to insert my hook through that loop that we have created. So insert my hook through that loop, so that's like the chain, yarn over, pull through. So as you can see, that's like a chain 1. And now I'm gonna yarn over, pull through 1. So this is the bottom of the foundation chain, and now 2 loops on a hook. That's the single crochet. So yarn over, pull through the 2. And then I'm going to go back through the chain or through that loop on the left, yarn over, pull through. Again, I've got 2 loops on a hook, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1, And this is the one we're going to be inserting a hook back into, this one chain that we are creating in the process. And then yarn over and pull through 2. So that's the single crochet. And as you can see, back through that chain that we have created, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that is the foundation single crochet, and as you can see, it creates quite a flexible start as opposed to the traditional chain and single crochet first row. So these are the foundation single crochet stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and work up multiples of 6 plus 2. If you're using the traditional foundation chain plus first row of single crochets, the multiple is multiple of 6 plus 3, and then start working into the second chain from the hook. So I'm going to go ahead and work up my foundation single crochet row, and then I will meet you back when it's time to get on with the lacy pattern. As you can see, I have got my foundation row ready. So I have done 26 foundation single crochet stitches, which is multiple of 6, so 6 by 4 is 24, plus the extra 2 is 26. For the original shawl pattern, I have chained, or I have worked 122 foundation single crochet stitches, but for the purpose of this video tutorial, I'm just going to be working on a smaller swatch of 26 stitches. So for row 2, we're going to turn and we're going to start working the lacy pattern. So for row 2, I'm going to chain 1. The chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch throughout the whole pattern, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. So that's 1 single crochet. Then I'm going to work single crochet into the next stitch. So that's insert hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's first 2 single crochet stitches. Then we're going to go ahead and chain 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to look at the stitches and I'm going to miss 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and work 1 single crochet into the next stitch, like this. And again, work 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, and this is basically what we're going to do across the whole row. So we're going to work 2 single crochet, chain 4, miss 4, and then again work 2 single crochet. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, miss 4 stitches, and work 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, shall I say. And as you can see, the only thing I would say with the foundation single crochet stitches for the first row, I do find them to be much looser than my normal single crochet stitches. Hence why I am chaining these 4 stitches really loosely, because if you don't, your foundation chain is then going to curl inwards like this, because the first row of these chain spaces is going to be too tight. So if you are using foundation single crochets for your first row, for the starting row, do make sure that you chain these 4 chain spaces really loosely so your foundation chain doesn't kind of curl in because it's too tight. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and work the next. So that's chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, miss 4 stitches and work 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches, and then chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna come to the end of the row where you've got 6 stitches left. So you would have worked all the way across your much larger foundation chain, and we're gonna come to the end of the starting chain where you've got 6 stitches left. So we're gonna skip the 4 and work 1 single crochet into the one before last, and 1 single crochet into the very last stitch like this. Okay, so this is your row 1 of the shawl pattern. We've got 2 single crochets and we have created these opened 4 chain spaces, which we're going to be working into on the next row. For row 3, we're going to turn our work again and we're going to start row 3. There are again 2 different possibilities you can start row 3 with. So you can either go ahead and chain 3 like this, and this chain 3 counts as your first double crochet. But what I prefer to do is work a standing double crochet. Again, the choice is yours. You can either just chain 3 or work the standing double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and extend the loop on my hook. I'm going to place my finger on top of that loop and then loop it round my hook like this, still holding on to that loop. Do not let go, because if you let go, it'll just kind of do this. Okay, so what we're going to do, extend the loop, hold the top of the loop, loop it round your hook towards yourself. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the stitch. And now you've got 3 loops on a hook. You can't quite see the third one because I'm trying to hold it. So I'm going to go yarn over, pull through 2 like this, still holding on to that loop, don't let go, and then yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops on a hook. And that's your first standing double crochet done, with the top 2 loops right there to work into. Okay, so that's your standing double crochet to start row 3. And now we're going to turn our attention to this 4 chain loop that we created in previous row, and we're going to work 1 double crochet. So that's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'm going to work another double crochet into the same 4 chain space. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have made 2 double crochets into that 4 chain space. Then we're going to chain 2. So that's 1 and 2. And then again, I'm going to work another 2 double crochet into the very same 4 chain space. So that's yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And another double crochet. So that's yarn over, insert your hook and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so let's recap to what we've done. So this is your first standing double crochet of row 3. You could also just chain 3 if that's what you prefer to do. Then we worked 2 double crochet into the first 4 chain space, chain 2, and then another 2 double crochet into the very same 4 chain space there. And this is basically what we're going to repeat across all the 4 chain spaces. So we're going to work 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet into this one, and this one, until we get to the last 2 single crochets. And then we're going to mirror this side. We're going to skip the one before last single crochet and just work standard double crochet into the very last single crochet. So let's go ahead and work another chain space together. So we worked into the first one, then we've got these 2 single crochets which we're going to completely skip. We're not going to work into those single crochets at all, which brings us on to the next 4 chain space. And again, we're going to work 2 double crochet. So that's 1 double crochet and second double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and we're going to work another 2 double crochet into the same 4 chain space. There we go. And you're going to basically repeat this all the way across your row. So across all 4 chain spaces across your row. As I'm working on a smaller swatch, I'll get to the end of the row much quicker, but you just carry on repeating 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet until you get to the very last 4 chain space, and we're gonna again work 2 double crochet, chain 2 and another 2 double crochet into the last 4 chain space. Then we're going to look at the last 2 single crochets there. We're going to miss the next one and work 1 double crochet into the last single crochet of the row. And that is row 3 completed. As you can see, it will need blocking because that foundation chain is slightly larger than the lace, but that's nothing that blocking can't fix. Okay, so that's the end of row 3. To start row 4, we're again going to turn our work, and to start row 4, again you've got 2 choices. You can either chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now this beginning chain 5 counts as your first double crochet, so the 3 chain stitches count as the double crochet plus chain 2 space. Okay, so this is the first way you can start row 4. I like to replace the beginning 3 chain with a standing double crochet again. So instead of chaining 5, I'm going to work my standing double crochet like this, as I showed you previously. So this is my standing double crochet, which replaced the 3 chains from the beginning chain 5, and then I'm going to chain 2 for the 2 chain space. Then we're going to go ahead and look at this first stitch combination. We're going to miss the first 2 double crochets, which brings us onto this chain 2 space. And I'm going to work 2 single crochet into that 2 chain space, into the very first 2 chain space, like this. Then we're gonna, this is basically the repeat of row 2, but we have to start slightly differently on the edge. So to create those 4 chain loops again that we're gonna be working into, we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we're gonna miss the last 2 double crochet from the first repeat, miss the next 2 double crochets, which brings us onto this 2 chain space. And again, we're gonna work 2 single crochets into that 2 chain space, like this. And once again, chain 4, miss the next 4 double crochets, and turn your attention to that 2 chain space and work 2 single crochet into that 2 chain space. And again, chain 4, and we're gonna miss the next 4 double crochets and work 2 single crochet into the last 2 chain space. And what we've got to do now is basically mirror the start of the row to the end of the row. So we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And now we're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of the standing double crochet from previous row, so into the top 2 loops. If you use the 3 chain method, you're going to be simply working into the top of the beginning 3 chain. Okay, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the top of my standing double crochet and work 1 double crochet. Okay, so this is the end of row 4, where we again created the 4 loops, 4 chain loops that we're going to be working this stitch combination into on row 5. To start row 5, we're going to turn our work again, and row 5 is going to start with half a repeat of the repeat that we work into the 4 chain space. Okay, so to start row 5, again, you can either chain 4, so that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. This chain 4 counts as the first double crochet, so the 3 chains count as double crochet plus 1 chain. But again, I prefer to replace those stitches with the standing double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and work 1 standing double crochet to replace the beginning 3 chain, like this. And then I'm going to chain 1. So it's going to create 1 chain space. And now we're going to look at this first 2 chain space at the very beginning. And I'm going to place 2 double crochets into that 2 chain space. So as you can see, this is not a full repeat of the pattern, because instead of 2 double crochet, 2 chain, 2 double crochet, we had to start with like a half repeat, which is 1 double crochet, 1 chain and 2 double crochet into the half chain space. So this is 2 chain space instead of the 4 chain space like we had here. This is the 2 chain space, so it's kind of like half space. So we're going to work half stitch repeat. Then that brings us on to the next 2 single crochet, which means we're just going to skip those 2 single crochet and work into the next 4 chain space. And we're going to work 1 double crochet and second double crochet, then chain 2 and work another 2 double crochet into the same 4 chain space. And that's the repeat we're going to repeat for the rest of the row. So to continue with row 5, we're going to work the 2 double crochet, 2 chain and another 2 double crochet into each of these 4 chain spaces, which brings us onto the very last chain space. And again, we need to mirror the start of the row at the end of the row as well. So we need to work kind of like a half stitch repeat into this last chain 2 space. So this is the 2 chain space and the top of the standing double crochet from previous row. So we're going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets into the 2 chain space. And then to mirror the start, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to work the last double crochet into the top of the first standing double crochet. Or if you started with chaining stitches, then it's into the 3rd chain of that beginning chain. And that's the last double crochet to end row 5 or to finish row 5. To mirror the start of it. To start row 6, we're going to again turn our work, and row 6 is again going to be about creating those 4 chain spaces that we can work the stitch pattern into. So to start row 6, we're going to chain 1. This chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into the top of that double crochet, like this. Then we come across the 1 chain space that we have created, and we're going to place the second double crochet into that 1 chain space. And again, we're going to chain 4. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Miss the next 4 double crochets, which brings us onto this 2 chain space, and we're going to work 2 single crochets into that 2 chain space. And as you can see, from then on, it's just about chaining 4, skipping 4 double crochets and working 2 single crochets into the 2 chain space. So I'm going to go ahead and work across the row until I get to the last 2 chain space. And then we're going to chain the last 4, miss the 4 double crochets again, which brings us onto the last 1 chain space and the last standing double crochet, or your last beginning chain. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet into that 1 chain space, and then turn my attention to the top of that standing double crochet and work the second double crochet into the top, or if you started with the beginning chain 4, it's going to be working into the third chain of that beginning chain 4. And that's the end of row 6. And now we have gone through all the rows that you will need for the stitch pattern repeat. So we have row 1 and 2, then we started row 3, 4, 5 and 6, and the rows 3 through to 6 will be the stitch pattern repeat. So we're going to repeat row 3, 4, 5 and 6 all the way across and all the way up until you work up the length of the shawl that you're happy with. And as you can see, it will benefit from firm blocking to open up that lace to make it all nice and neat. So once you work up the desired length of your shawl or whatever project you're using this stitch pattern for, you're gonna end your repeat with repeating row 6. So you're gonna end with 2 single crochets either end and the chain 4 loops all across your row. And to kind of mirror the starting chain or the start of your shawl pattern, we're now just going to work a simple row of single crochet across the very last row, or row 6 repeat. So let's go ahead and finish off the edge. Let's pretend that this is the shawl finished, that you have worked up as many rows as you need to. So I'm going to again chain 1. I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the first single crochet and 1 single crochet into the next one. Then we come across the 4 chain space. So I'm going to simply place 4 single crochets into that 4 chain space. 3 and 4. And then we come across the next 2 single crochets. So we're going to work 1 single crochet into each one of them. That's 1 and 2. And then again, we're going to come to the 4 chain space. And once again, we're going to work 4 single crochets into that 4 chain space. And 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 single crochets. And that's basically what we're gonna work all the way across the last row. So however wide your last row is, just work all the way across. And the great way to check on yourself is that the number of stitches for your last row should match the number of stitches as your foundation row, because we're basically mirroring the first row we started with. We're going to end with a row of single crochets like this. So if you started, I have started with 26 single crochets at the bottom, and we're going to end with 26 single crochet stitches across the top of the shawl as well. So that's basically the stitch pattern that I have used for the shawl, and it's a great stitch pattern if you wanted to use it for any other project. But the Nadia shawl is a project available on my blog bluestackcrochet.com. The PDF is also available in my Etsy and Ravelry shops. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you for another project here on my YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for this video so you're notified every time I upload a new tutorial or video. Thank you for watching.